And we're back. Okay, so this is the second portion of our discussion today, and I hope you wake up through it, okay, and finish our video lecture. So here's the second part. Enjoy. Now let's talk about some technological elements. We will discuss subjects that IT people are talking about. But don't worry, I will not go deeper. Okay? I'll try to present to you these IT topics. I know it's gonna be difficult for you non-IT guys. I'll try to explain it as simple as I can, and then we'll just leave it there. Okay? We will not talk very deep about these terms because these are not your field. Okay? But why do I need to talk about this? Because e-commerce sits on top of technology. E-commerce steps on the line of technology. So we need to talk about it. Okay? So technology, right? Technology is a major enabler of e-commerce, and we have to consider it here. Globally accepted technological standards have been and still the prerequisite and the driver of global electronic business, right? So we are going to look at this technology model. We will follow a model, the simplest one I can find, with 4 layers. Okay, this model is not satisfactory from a scientific point of view, but from our perspective, it can already give us what we call an exploratory and realistic orientation. Okay, even if I know if you're looking at those terminologies, a lot of those things are very foreign to you. No? So hindi ko na pag-ubusan. We will just discuss a few of them. Okay? Alright, here we go. Basic technologies. Okay, we'll start from the bottom. Okay, basic technologies. On the context of terminologies, the first one is what we call TCP/IP. Okay, TCP/IP. What is a TCP/IP? It stands for Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. In short, TCP/IP is the language of the internet. Okay, this is how the computer talks to one another, or how one computer talks to another computer using the internet. Okay, and how do they do that? They use what we call packets of data. Okay, so you might ask, ano na siya ang packets of data? Let me just show you an example.
Have you ever wondered what happens when someone in England visits the World Science Festival's webpage? First, their computer needs to ask the World Science Festival server for a copy of that webpage. The computer sticks this request into a virtual envelope called a packet, wrapped with specific information about that request, including the World Science Festival's IP address. The computer sends this packet out of the house and below the street via large underground copper wires. It passes through small regional networks before ending up here at Telehouse North in London. Telehouse North is England's main internet hub. The IP address on this packet tells the hub that the World Science Festival server is actually in Los Angeles. So Telehouse North sends the packet out as light across the Atlantic, over fiber optic cables buried deep beneath the ocean. The packet ends up here, 60 Hudson Street, New York City, the largest internet hub on the East Coast. This hub sends the packet through a series of regional networks connecting New York to Los Angeles, where the World Science Festival server resides. The server reads the request and gets ready to send the web page to England. But web pages made up of images and text are too large to send as a single packet of data. So how do we get it back to England? Imagine a group of 5,000 tourists visiting New York City in a single gigantic tour bus. They are way up in Harlem, but they want to visit the Statue of Liberty before it closes. But it's rush hour on a Friday. There's no way that giant bus is going to fit through those crazy congested streets. So they decide to get off the bus and spread out. Some take the subway, some take cabs, a few rent bikes, and some even take kayaks down the Hudson River. How they get there doesn't matter, as long as they get there on time. Likewise, for the internet to work efficiently, this web page is pulverized into thousands of tiny packets of data, each one wrapped with all of the information it needs to rebuild itself in England. The packets are sent to LA's One Wilshire hub, which checks the traffic report before sending them off. Through miles and miles of land they travel, checking in through different hubs. Like our New York City tourists, those packets don't care how they get there, as long as they get there as fast as possible. Most of them will go through 60 Hudson in New York, where they are redirected back to England as light, riding a fiber of glass as thick as a silver dollar. Then back on copper wire through regional British networks until all the packets reach their destination and this epic journey, it all happens in about a second, along with trillions upon trillions of similar journeys that happen each and every day on this remarkable, easy to take for granted network of networks we call the Internet.
Then we have HTTP. Stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is being used to send and receive web pages. So ang HTTP naman niya, kung si TCP/IP, ang yasining ubra is a protocol for talking with each other sa computer. Si HTTP naman niya is used to send and receive web pages naman. Okay? So, lain ang in charge sa email na protocol? Yes. Lain man ang protocol in charge sa web pages. Okay, so si HTTP naman na. In fact, mayari pa yun. Si FTP. File Transfer Protocol, it's a communication protocol naman for rapid, simple transmission of files. Rektahanay niya connection. Okay, wala na ni siya nag-aagi sa server sa isa ka company. So, masilo ko be file from my computer to a friend. Paano? Pwede ko i-upload sa Google Drive, then ang balon ko siya i-download. Then ay nag-agi pa. Okay? So, sino ang responsible sa ito? Nag-upload ko sa Google Drive. Si TCP/IP. Tama. Pero kung si FTP gamiton ko, madiretsyo na kami. Wala na ko nag-agi sa Google Drive, ipadala ko diretsyo sa friend ko ang file. I am going to use FTP. That is File Transfer Protocol. Gets? I hope you get it. Then the World Wide Web. It is the way of exchanging information between computers on the internet. So, itong TCP/IP, amo itong yung language. Okay? Amo ito sila magstoryahan na yung muling buo niya. Si WW naman niya, ang inaubra niya naman si Mia is to collect all of this information and put them on the internet, tying them together, right, into a vast interactive multimedia resources. Ano inubra? So we have the internet or the World Wide Web. World Wide Web. Okay, so WWW. Then, I hope wala pa kamuga nosebleed. Then we have HTML, mga acronyms itanan guys. Sorry gid, there's no simpler way to discuss this. HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. This is simply defined as the language for creating web pages. Gusto mo mag-obra web page, tuon ka HTML. Then we have XML. Ang XML naman niya is extensible markup language. Hindi naman siya ginagamit mag-ubra ka sang file na both readable sa human and sa machine. Oh yeah, because the machine doesn't read the way we do. Remember, ano ganing language ng computer? Binary. When we talk about binary, we're talking about bi means two numbers. Wala na, 0 kag 1. Wala na may simbihan. So for example, the letter A nga makita sa screen, behind that, sa sulod ni computer, it's not letter A. It's something else. It's 8 ones and zeros. Ano na siya magbasa? So imagine mo kung yung tanang mo words. These are not words inside the computer's mind. These are all numbers of zeros and ones. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan ni computer ang aton nga ginabasa, kag kita man, makaintindi man, we created what we call the XML. Okay? So, machine readable siya, and ang iyang goal is to emphasize simplicity, generality, and usability across the internet. Then we have SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. This is naman niya the way of how we send email. Okay? So, ato kayo ng example ko sa email, kwanto siya yan. Inang example to, paano niya chap-chapon into packets para magsulod sa TCP/IP. Si SMTP naman niya, amo naman ni siya yung responsible nga ang nagatabok ang mail mo from one location to another. So, SMTP. Most mail systems that send mail over the internet use SMTP to send message served from one server to another. So, ginagamit Gmail is makes use of SMTP. Gmail is an email server. Okay? Yahoo Mail is an email server. So, mapadala ka da isang email mo, amo na ginagamit niya SMTP. Then we have database. Ang database naman is simply a system for storing and taking care of your data. Okay? So, basic terminologies ng technology. So, hindi na ako magpadugay da. Okay? Gina-imagine ko lang itsura yung nagkakurisong na subong. Okay? So, anyway, the next item that we are going to talk about is the middleware. Okay? So, we have basic technology terms, then we have the middleware. So, what is a middleware? Middle. Ano? Sa tunga, yes. The one that connects two different or otherwise separate or unrelated applications together. Okay, so daw siya niyang negotiator. Okay, it allows the flow of communication or data. One common or famous middleware is what we call CORBA, Common Object Request Broker Architecture. Ang ginaobraya sini, it allows software modules to communicate with each other. Okay, no matter where they are located, whether private siya or global. Okay, so ang ginaobraya ni CORBA is simply to make sure istoryahanay ka muda. Okay, sa unang atsimpo, pag private network siya, hindi na siya kasulod. But now with CORBA, maski private pa na siya, si CORBA is like a person with all the keys to the house. Wala siya kasi nga restricted na. So, pananay isudla nila. So that makaistoryahanay ang duwa ka system. So that is what it does. Then we have SOAP, what we call Simple Object Access Protocol. Okay, ginaubra ni SOAP. Remember, pagkaton na siya into packets. Bubrahon niya naman na sa loob na siya ni SOAP, ni SOAP, and then ibutangin na sa envelope ang mga packets. Okay, pabutangin na envelope, butangin niya na header kag body. Okay, so ano na yung purpose? Si SOAP, siya ni ang responsible sa pagpamutang sa markers sa iyong email para hindi magkalang. Okay, so SOAP. That's a protocol. Okay. Before they transfer messages over the internet. Then we have the web server. Si web server naman is a computer that runs websites. It is a computer program that distributes web pages as they are requisitioned. So, ang makita nyo nga file sa inyong screen on the internet is being hosted or nakatago na siya sa ginatawag na web server. Okay, it's a physical computer. So, ang isa ka website na ginakatuan mo is stored in a web server. So, click mong link because that link is found in that computer, in that server. So, that is a web server. So, in terms of platforms naman and frameworks, we have a few top terms lang. Hindi ako magpalawig tira. We have what we call a portal. What do you mean by a portal? Portal, in layman's term, in Ilonggo, alagyan, portal. Okay. So, a web portal comes in two flavors. We have internal and we have external portals. The internal portals are designed to provide services within the organization. So, among local area network. Okay, so may portal. Sa external portal naman, they serve as a starting point for browsing the web. Okay, so there are lots of portals that we can make use. Google is a portal. Okay. Actually, a portal is different than a search engine. Okay, but most portals include some type of search feature. So, see, Google in itself is a portal. Okay. Pero, may search engine siya na ginagamit natin upang itasan natin ng mga searches. In general, in a strictest sense actually, si Google is a search engine. Wala na siya gin-design na maging portal. Because Google was a project in college. So, search engine na siya. Mangita siya sa terms, topics, pages. Galing, here's the catch. Google now provides services sa YouTube, right? Yes, Google Maps, Google Drive, Gmail, G Suite, Google News, Google Ads. So, nagtago na. It even has a Google homepage. So, with all these services that Google is offering, it is now more than a search engine. It is now a portal. Why? You don't just search anymore. You can go to Google Drive. That's a doorway. A Gmail. That's a doorway. Google Map is a doorway. YouTube is a doorway owned by Google. So Google is now a portal. Gets? All right. Then we have CMS. CMS, or what we call Content Management System, is usually used to manage web content. Okay, ang iyalan ni ginaubra is to, kung gusto mo mag-ubra web page, okay, hindi ka kabalo mag-programming or mag-HTML, gamit ka CMS. Why? Because these are easily understood by humans when they are reading or doing some technical works sa pag-type lang. Examples of this are WordPress, Joomla, or Drupal. So that's your content management. Then the web application server that you see here on the screen refers to the physical hardware and the software that provides the environment for your programs to run. So for example, if you have transactions in your website, tatabi online grocery in your website, you need a web server, web application server. Why? Because in that web application server, you have to put there your sales module, you have to put in their inventory module, you have to put in their customer module, your supplier module. And so for that to coordinate with each other, you need an app for that. Okay, so that's why we have a web application server. And on top of that, we now have applications. Okay, applications refer to the draft that we have for general software architecture on e-commerce area. These are the different application. We have the supplier oriented. If I'm the supplier, I need the software. Supply chain management, supplier relationship management, sales, right? Management, ordering system. So that is from the supplier. With the back office, you need an ERP, enterprise resource planning. And for the customer, so you have your front end, that's the customer. You have your back end, that's your ERP. So the customer doesn't need to know what supply chain is. Customer doesn't need to know how to procure things. What the customer needs is the online shop. What the customer needs is the customer can communicate with the supplier. That's how it is. Okay. Also, okay, by definition, we have online shop. This is the website that enables the visitor to find, make order, or pay products and services. The online shop. Then we have the CRM, Customer Relationship Management. What does it do? It is a computerized system for identifying, for targeting, for acquiring and retaining the best mix of customers. So it's basically a system that manages your customers, how to maintain them, how to profile your customers, right? How to provide them with the products that they may probably need. So that's what CRM does. Then we have the SCM, or what we call the supply chain management. This is a system that coordinates with other departments in the business. Okay, this is from the supply side and the distribution side channel of the system. Okay, so who supplies what? Where can we order the product? Are we low on our inventories? So we need to contact our supplier. So how can we achieve customer satisfaction? How do we reduce our wastage? So supply chain management does all of these things. If you look at the image on your screen, the supply chain management encompasses everything from the raw materials up to the supplier, to the manufacturing, to the distribution, to the retail location, and last stop would be the customer. So in short, the supply chain management is responsible from the creation of the product, from raw materials up to the fulfillment or the delivery of the product or acceptance of that product by the customer. So that is your supply chain management. Then we have the procurement system. The procurement system, or what we call the purchasing system, allows the organization to automate the process of purchasing goods and services. So procurement, it helps manage all the procurement related processes. That includes sending purchase requests, purchase orders, how do you manage your vendors, how do you approve delivered goods and services, and how do you review your invoices. So procurement system. So basically that's the application side. I'm sorry, there's no way but to go through the terminologies. If you have a hard time, just go back to this portion here and again retrace my discussion. Okay, so but if you have questions, you know where to find. All right, now we talk about the characteristics of e-commerce. What is the what are the characteristics of e-commerce? Number one is customer focus. You have to understand that every company that stays successful in the business must learn how to give focus to their customer. Right? What do the customer needs? What do the customer really want to purchase? Right? So we are looking at the focus, when we talk about customer focus, it goes beyond the physical, mental, and social, okay, need of the customer. And e-commerce is no different from that. Okay, so customer focus is important. Then we have audience research. What is audience research? Successful e-commerce business stay ahead of the curve of their audience. Okay, so you don't only know the need, or how do you know the need of your customer? You need to stay ahead of them. Okay, basically you need to stay up to date of your audience. You need to do periodic surveys because they are useful for researching your audience, right? You need to talk with your customers because a personal conversation is another avenue that can help you do your research. And when you talk, when you survey, you know where your customers spend their time, what they like, what sort of lifestyle that they live, what sort of lifestyle they aspire to. You know, basically when you do your audience research, you are keeping track of the trends of your customer. That is why more than ever you need to understand exactly who it is you are marketing to. Okay? Do your homework, and that is audience research. Then we have business sense. What is business sense? One of the most effective ways to apply this is through periodic reviews. Now you have to understand that business sense is just a matter of common sense. Okay, what would you normally do in a regular business? Okay, quarterly business reviews have been a staple for ages, and there's a reason for that. What is the reason for that? They are a great time to look back at what worked and what didn't work. So you review, you check, and you take advantage of that knowledge, and then you apply it moving forward. You know, the only way for the business to grow is forward, but you don't have to go back. So these are very important senses for e-commerce. Have a great business sense. Then these are essential. Okay, the two things I mentioned, periodic reviews and applying that knowledge to move forward. These are essential, but don't stop there. Okay, the incredibly rapid pace of change on the internet means that you have to be on top of the current trends in your business. Okay, make sure that you have all the data at your fingertips at all times. That is how you get a good business sense. Be on top of the current trends. The best e-commerce firms still have periodic reviews, but they combine that with the agility to make changes when it becomes obvious that they are needed. In short, you don't just have to have that sense. You just don't have to be on top of the trend. Have that data at the end of your fingertips. You have to be flexible as well. And if you want to survive in the world of business, flexibility is very important. Then we have reliable shipping. What is reliable shipping? Well, as it turns out, reliability and cost are more important than speed for most customers. Why? For example, Amazon. Amazon is a standard bearer for e-commerce logistics, right? With their blazing fast distribution network. But you have to understand that e-commerce companies who are successful but without super speed process like what Amazon does, how do they do that? Well, it turns out, again, reliability and cost are more important than speed. Okay? When we talk about that, uh, we are referring to the important factor of shipping, speed. Okay? You simply have to ask yourself or your business, do you do what you say you're going to do? I mean, if you say, we can deliver that in 48 hours, can you deliver that in 48 hours? Alright? Although some people who want it now, they may not really agree on that, but there are some who really don't care when it gets there, as long as it gets there. Okay? The thing is, you really have to do what you say you're going to do. Otherwise, you're gonna be losing customers. Okay? Then your business will live. Okay? If you do what you say you're going to do, we refer to that as a reputation. Okay? If you stake your reputation on consistently delivering what your customer needs and rapidly fix that when something is broken, you are actually setting yourself up on a foundation of success. Reputation is important in business. And I'm sure I can see you all nodding, right? Reputation. You have to spend more time focusing on fulfillment of your promises, and at the same time, optimizing your cost. Okay, and less stressing about the speed that should be delivering the products. When you talk about optimization, it means that doesn't only mean about speed. Right? It has something to do with your coordination with your distribution centers. Okay? What you should do. Bottom line is, what you should do is to fulfill your promise. Again, going back to the second statement, do you do what you say you're going to do? Okay, so that is very important as well. Another is number 5, smooth checkouts. Now, the best e-commerce companies strip all the unnecessary trappings out of checkout processes, leaving only what is necessary. Okay? In fact, you should be killing off sales without even knowing it. Why? Because if you look at your shopping carts, for example, your online shopping carts, have you ever tried? You wanted to purchase something, but because the process is too tedious, you just leave it there and look for other items or look for other suppliers. Right? What you can do is to streamline your checkout process. So how do you do that? Simply put, look at some of the pioneers in this area. How do they do that? How do they make their checkouts simple and effective? So there are a lot that you can find if you do your homework, you do your research. Then we have quality user experience. Good design and content can go a long way toward establishing trust to your customers. This ties directly to the point about checkout experience, right? Quality user experience. Your e-commerce site has to inspire trust, or nobody's going to give you payment information. Okay, so if I give you this information, how do I know that my information is secure? You have to establish trust by creating good design and content for your e-commerce. Second is your experience tailored to your audience? Does your design appeal to the people you're trying to sell your products? What about your contents? Is your design optimized for mobile? You see, you need to ask these questions, because if your design is amateurish, Importante yan. A grade school student. There are typos, awkward phrasing, awkward design, awkward, structure. Right? What would be expected? Expect that people will be turned off immediately. It's very important. Slow loading, confusing websites do not make for a successful e-commerce. So you have to be careful with that one. Make sure that the customers that visit your website will enjoy their experience. That they would say, I will come back to that website. Right? So UX, user experience, is very important. UX design is very important. 7. Tailored SEO. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. This is the process of customizing your website in order to be seen as favorably as you can in the eye of Google. In layman's term, search engine optimization is making sure that every time your product is searched, it will always come out in the first page of the search. That's search engine optimization. Over 50% of searches are likely to be voice-based by 2021, next year. When you search for something, it's going to be voice-based, as they said. 93% of all online experiences start with a search engine, after all. Okay, so learn how to capitalize on running after audiences, okay, that Google sent your way. It's very important. It means that you really need to do your study, because there are actually plenty of case studies out there that support the importance of having a good search engine optimization structure. So, importante na siya. Like for example, ma-search ko sa mga product, or ma-search ko sa product na I'm selling this product. So, iban actually, they pay Google to have their product pop up on page 1. On page 2 palang gani. Remember how many terms when you search for Google, how many terms can be displayed on the first page? Siguro 50, 100. First page alone. Kung ang imo nga product or ang imo nga service na tumagtupa sa page number 3, statistic shows ang tao mag-search for something, wala na siya go beyond 3 pages sa Google search. Pages sa dalog. So, pag nagsubra sa page na imo pa nga, kung pa sa page 5, people will not see that because sa page 3 pa lang kasi sa it's not here. Wala din ginapangita. So, you need to capitalize on that. So, as we are about to end our topic on e-commerce, here's the last part of the discussion. What do you think are the factors that add success to e-commerce? What do you think? Simple. Your e-commerce website, for it to be successful, must have a highly transactional website, right? Relatively low priced basic products, focuses on high number of transactions with low margin on each sale. What do we mean by that? You don't have to have a high profit every time. Okay, my Chinese boss once told me before, the problem with Filipinos is whenever we have a business, we want a high margin profit right away. But in a Chinese business sense, if they can have a profit for, let's say, for every peso, if I have only a profit of 10 cents, but if I can keep my customers coming back and bringing some more, that 1 peso or the 10 centavos will be more than enough profit for me. Unlike if I sell a product and I put a 50% on top of the sale, right? Imagine if I have a 1 peso and then I'd sell it for 150. People would find it very expensive. They won't be coming back. Okay? So, frictionless transaction and easy flow to purchase page should be prioritized. Then, high aggregate. How do you make your e-commerce successful? High engagement website. Okay, the goal of high engagement website is to create a strong brand affinity. Okay, simply put, this approach means that you have to make sure that you have a strong customer engagement, right, around the story that you're trying to tell them. Okay, the site should be designed to create a connection with your customers. Okay, so di lang basta-basta nga masiling ka okay na the website. So it should have high engagement. Then the third one, a product assortment with a point of view, which means it needs to stress some particular customer segment or set of benefits. Furthermore, we talk about product assortment, or what we call curation. Okay, you should be able to sell products that would cater to customer needs. Specifically, for example, items or products that would help them solve the problem that they are in right now. What are the items that your customer with a certain problem needs to see? Right? You should be able to convey a new website. You should be able to convey yourself as an expert who has that credibility to deliver what the customer might need. Okay. Then we have an easy, pleasurable shopping experience. What does it mean? It means that it should be easy to navigate, easy to purchase from. Okay, the website needs a good search function as well, so you can find the products that don't fit the standard specification. If a lot of people search on a particular category of goods, organize those section of goods in your website around that. Okay, you need to accept all major credit cards as well. So that is what easy, pleasurable shopping experience means. Then we have good search advertising and search engine optimization. You have to get people to your website. Right? You just don't build the website. You need to get people to your website. If going back to our earlier assignment on misconception check, do you think building the website will be more than enough to pull in sales for your business? Actually, the answer to that is all of these things that I'm discussing now, right? So doesn't mean that you build the website, people will come. You need to make sure that when you search for that product through Google, for example, that product should better show up on the first page of results, as I mentioned. Because if it goes beyond 3 pages, that is not organic anymore. Okay. So you might say, how do I do that? Well, people are buying Google Ads. Actually, that's how Google make money. Buy Google Ads, and we will make sure that your products are optimized. Okay, so they put when you buy Google Ads, you can remember it's a portal. They can put advertisements in Gmail. They can put advertisements in Google Classroom. They can put advertisements in Google Meet if they want to, right? So they're very good at that. So you want to be organic, make sure that your search product is always on page 1 of the search engine of Google. And lastly, how do you make an e-commerce successful, or what contributes to the success of e-commerce? Personalized omni-channel experience. This is where consumers want to be recognized cross channels or devices. This is where customer wants to receive offers from different devices, from different locations. It is relevant in their moment of need. Now, in this context, you need to provide a consistent and seamless experience across all possible channels of engagement, from mobile to web to texting through social media. That's your omni-channel. You need to have an informed engagement, okay, between what is now and what was before. You need to keep up with the customer's pace and understanding and what needs to provide for them so that they can access it in real time. So there you have it. The different ways of how to make your e-commerce successful. Well, there you have it, our lesson for today, and I hope you are awake all throughout our discussion. But anyway, if you have slept through some portions, you can always go back and replay our video lecture. But one thing I just want to make it clear, I really hope that you learned something new today, or it has given you some improvement in the way of how you look at things and how you look at our topic today. So thank you for giving me your time, and I really hope to see you face to face someday before the academic year ends, and we'll have the opportunity to meet face to face. So be ready. We will have our new topic next time around, and check your Google Classroom from time to time for our updates. Okay, so have a nice day. God bless everyone, and stay safe, be safe, and see you around. Okay.